So over here on the right is your original one of your iron swings. Basically, what happens, there's six things that you can get energy from as a force. You can get them from your shoulders, your arms, your wrist, your core muscles, your legs, as they use off the ground. And everyone's trying to get power in their swing. So the backswing is what we call the load of energy. The force is how we get it back to the ball, and the release of that energy to the golf club. So when I look at a swing, I'm looking at energy, what's causing the problem. We now know that your swing, if we go up here, because of how you're moving, your center mass is in front of the ball. Because that center mass is in front, you're now kind of coming in this steep angle. And even though that you're not coming over the top, you are coming in steep. You're going to run out of room and your body has to fall out of the way, and you have a hard time getting the club through the shot. So again, you are not coming over the top as you're much coming in too steep because of this. So what happens in your backswing, you're not really moving from the ground. You're moving from this hip and this shoulder are pulling away. So you get the shoulder hip thing that you're turning. And because of this knee comes inward for balance in that point, and all your energy is behind you this way. So your first natural motion will always be the shoulders leaning energy-wise. So you set energy this way or set and lean. And this is now just put your center mass in front of the ball. Now you're stuck. Now, if you hit enough balls, you can learn to fall backwards. You have to fall back to get behind it, try to get the hands through, and then it becomes this complicated motion as you go through. So part of that is to get you a sense of a couple of new things. This is one of the teaching aid. We'll look at a club here in a second, but you were swinging the teaching aid back and forth, and this was helping you find a layer of get these things hit. So the first thing you wanted to feel was that as you swing it starting back and forth, you'll start really small like this from side to side. And you want to get some layers. In this first part, you're side by side. What you should be feeling is your arms, the core muscles, the thighs, your belt buckle area, and your stomach or your core muscles. You're going to feel that you're moving from there in your arm swing. What you aren't moving from is your shoulders, especially your right hand trying to pull away. So that's your right arm pulling away. So this changes the angles of these changes geometry of your swing and as a look and as a stability. Right about here, you're going to start feeling resistance to the ground, feet and core. And about here, you're going to start feeling a stretch right there underneath that shoulder blade. If you feel resistance in that stretch, we got it. Now to you, it feels like a much smaller swing, and relative to where you were, this swing feels more. But if you notice here on the swing, we barely see your back. We see a lot of your back here. So as far as a golf swing, this is a bigger swing, and your hands are just as high, and that club is over here instead of up in the sky. Again, this swing to you feels smaller, but it actually is just in a different place. Now because of that, this having the resistance here and stretching there, having that, your natural motion will move from the ground. So you can see this part of this awning over here. You'll see a natural bump and your head doesn't move. Now that puts your center mass, say if the ball was here, that puts your center mass behind it. So on this side here, you can see how you're staying behind it with the legs driving through instead of getting over here in front of it. All this happens in a second of time, 3/4 of a second up, 1/4 of a second down. So we don't have time to do it. We don't have time to try to do it literally in our head. So we have to create these way of doing this is visually and feeling basically in the backswing. It feels like a resistance feeling here, and now stretch underneath that. Once you feel the stretch and the resistance, that means this is a spring. We've created this spring action from here to here. And you're stretching, and that spring is going to pull this down first naturally. That's why the hips whip. then your fundamentals kind of fall into place. Your natural stretch is at shoulder, this hip going that way, so you're going to get pulled that way. And so this, when you're swinging the teaching aid, just go back and forth, right? And then eventually what's going to happen is you're just going to, you'll get those legs moving, pushing off the ground. See how you're moving from the ground, your shoulders reacting. Over here, you can see this is all shoulders dragging you back and forth. That's a shoulder, trying to get energy from the shoulders. And this is getting from the, what we'll call the core down feeling, a lower feeling of energy. And right there, it's important for you to get that feeling. Once you come right to impact, we've got to get this energy into that golf club. Let it fly. There's a force. Then release the energy. That's your speed. Force and let it go. Now, let's go over a couple of drills. Now the first one here is I have this golf club here on my belt buckle, my driver. I'm going to feel moving from my rib cage, and I'm going to be very relaxed up in here. But below, I'm going to feel resistance from my thighs, feet, and the ground. And I want to feel that first feeling of resistance in my swing. So I'm feeling this rotation, so there should be a lot of feet, legs, and a lot of core muscles tightening up at this point. I'm very relaxed up here in this part, but this other part is the resisting. And this gets my pivot the way I want. Next thing I'm going to do for you is I want you to feel the stretch. Now this is what I call punching the wall, but I think you're going to be better if you just treat it as a lever, where you feel like this arm is a lever off your muscle here, and you're just going to, like you're pulling the lever to the left of you, to the inside. When you first did it, you thought it might be coming too far inside. You really can't come too far inside with your left arm, but you can come too much inside with your right. Now this will give you that feeling of being stretched, resisting, and stretching right there. That becomes your backswing feeling. The golf club, that'll get you this powerful position of stretch, resist, backswing. And from there, we're just going to let it just fire through. See, as my arm is the lever, you see it heads backwards. It doesn't come too far inside, especially that left arm. The other thing, here are a couple visual things here for you as a drill. So here's Roy, and here's a drill where I take this club in my right hand. And what I'm going to do is I have an impact bag. You can have a comforter down, but you're trying to find leverage relative to the ball. We know you're in front of it, so this right here is going to feel like you're keeping your center mass behind it. You're going to have that resistance feeling. You won't feel the stretch in the right arm, but you're going to feel how you're applying leverage from your core, your legs, and that's the same as Roy here. It's just applying leverage to the bag. And you see this learns to keep your center mass behind the ball. So if there was a bag there, you'd be in a good position for that to happen. If we go here with Jon Rahm, he's definitely stretching here. You see he stretches outward. But again, he goes to the bag just like Roy. They're still applying leverage to the ball. The last thing here, we'll look at a couple of swings. Couple swings here. Let's take this away. We'll keep this here. So as they go through, you can see them applying leverage. They're all behind applying leverage. And right here is what I call release the energy, or the slingshot, where we're trying to get that club to really release and get out of you. But you got to have your center mass behind it for this to happen. If you're not, you're stuck. So once they get their hit, then they're going to get that release of energy. And this is what you see here in this drill. There's your hit, and then you let it go. This is how you stay down to that shot. So just keep working on those kind of resistance feelings. Let's pull up an actual hit here, I think. The hardest thing for you is going to feel that you're doing these small swings. This is a club here. You can see your practice swing. This is good. And there's your hit, and then you let it release. So your swing is going to feel short, but it's going to feel more compact and powerful than short. And just kind of build some trust. You can get some power from there, but that anything about the old swing, it's kind of a timing thing to get everything to line up.